Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Before I get into this video, thank you all so much for watching my previous video. My previous video got 245 views within 3 days, which is absolutely crazy. Anyways guys, today we are going to be answering probably the most common question out there. How can I prevent myself from getting robbed, and how do I know if I got robbed from? Let's get into it. So there are a couple of ways to prevent yourself from getting robbed. Tip number 1 is to go passive by typing please settings passive yes or please settings passive true. However, going on passive has its own pros and cons. The pros being that you can't be robbed, bank robbed, or even thrown sand on, while the cons being much more. That you can't send items to anyone, you can't receive items from anyone, you can't throw sand on people, you can't join heists, you can't rob people, and much more. Tip number 2 is to install a fake ID. This would make your username look like a random one when someone does please rich, and you can't be stolen from unless the robber knows your ID. This fake ID lasts 7 days. Tip number 3 is to max your pet's attack and defense stats. When you have done so, your pet will attack the robber, and the robber will have to pay 250 coins for hospital fees. So most of you guys will be asking now, how do I prevent myself from getting robbed while not being passive? My answer is this. Tip number 4 to prevent yourself from getting robbed is probably the most common one. This is to install a padlock on your wallet with the command please use padlock. Padlocks are a bit expensive, coming in at around 5,000 each, but that means you can buy them on shop sale where they are sold for around half the price, usually being on the high 1,000s and low 2,000s. The pro of having a padlock is that when the robber tries to rob you, they'll automatically fail unless they have bolt cutters, of course. However, this padlock is a one-time use, and when your padlock breaks, you have to install a new one, but until you do, you can easily get robbed from. Tip number 5 works a lot better, but it's more expensive than the padlock. This is to install landmines on your wallet. Landmines cost about 9,500 each. When someone tries to rob you, it'll show them that they have a 50% chance of dying and ask them whether they want to continue or cancel it. Now, they may die from this if they click confirm, or they might go through. So please make sure that you have both landmine and padlock to ensure that the robber does not get in first try. You can use landmine by using please use landmine. This lasts I think about 10 hours. Now those tips are helpful if you are not online by the time someone is robbing you. But if you are online and you witness that someone attempted to rob you but failed, here's what to do. Tip number 6 is to throw sand on them. Sand costs just as much as a padlock does. You can do please use sand and click confirm and write the user's ID to throw sand in their face. Remember that the sand can either hit the robber's face or bounce back to you. But even if it does bounce back to you, you will be able to throw another sand on the robber to get him. He won't be able to rob for another 30 minutes if you get the sand on him, and in robbing, every single minute counts. Tip number 7 is to use snow. You can't buy it from the store, but you can trade it from another user. Snow doesn't last as long as sand does, but it prevents the user from doing any negative things to you for a few minutes, which may be enough to do tip number 6. Tip number 8, and probably the best tip of course, is to disable the rob with the command please disable rob. Simple. No one can rob you now, can they? Now let's look at how to find out whether you have been robbed or not. First thing is that when you feel that your money is less than it should be, run the command please notice and see if anyone robbed you. So that's about it on this video on my tips on how to stop being stolen from in Dank Memer. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to tell me what kind of video I should make next. Until then, sayonara peeps.